Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Walkthrough Radio Show with myself, Jason Collins, alongside Kevin Walker, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. Guys, you can also find us on YouTube at the Walkthrough Radio Show. So go over there, give us a subscribe, like some of our videos. We're trying to build up that YouTube channel as well. But K-Walk, what's going on today, man? How you doing, bro?
All is well, all is well. Trying to stay cool in this hot weather, man, but looking forward to another great one, man.
Yeah, man, that's the theme in these dog days of summer. Just trying
Seriously,
to stay cool and survive some of this heat, man, for sure.
for
Okay,
sure,
Walk,
for
are
sure.
your Yankees okay, man? I saw a 4-game losing skid. You still feeling
Yeah,
all right about your Yankees?
yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. The reason why I'm good, Jay, it's kind of like you posed it. Would I rather have a great defense or a great offense? I'd rather have a great defense. 49. I mean, the Yankees they have a great defense. Their pitching is great. The bullpen is good. They keep us in the game, man. But that offense has got to step up. I mean, we're out Stanton. No excuses without Rizzo right now. Got some new guys in here right now. So, but yeah, I'm okay. As long as we got that 10-game lead, Jay, I'm good. Right now, we're 10 and a half games in first place in the ALA. So I'm good. I'm okay right now. I'm not panicking just yet, Jay.
Yeah, I looked at it this morning. They still have a huge lead in the East,
Yeah,
so no worries. And I guess in a baseball season, you can expect to have some ups
exactly.
and
Exactly.
downs, man, but they're still in real good shape. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot of good stuff to talk to you about today. We're going to obviously talk a lot of NFL as football is just around the corner, and we're all
Yes,
excited about
yes.
that. We've got some more rounds of Somebody's Got to Go. K-Walk always has his start bench cut, so we just have a lot of good stuff to get into. But K-Walk, I want to start kind of, I don't want to say on a down note, but on a
Mhm.
topic that's not great. Brittany Griner, as you
Yeah.
know, last week, she was sentenced to 9 years in prison over there in
Mhm.
Russia. We kind of all felt like the trial was more of just
Yeah.
a formality than
Formality.
actually a
Yeah.
trial, but what are your thoughts on it, man? 9 years, how do you see this thing playing out? Do you think we're going to be able to get her home, or do you suspect that she might be over there for some length of time?
Yeah, Jay. I just the way I'm hoping. That's all I can do is hope, Jay. Because I thought that she would be back. And I didn't think this sentence would be as severe as it turned out to be. But they said it's a maximum sentence of 10 years. She ultimately got 9.5. She's been there for 6 years. That government over there is it's something. It's a lot different than our government here, especially with everything going on. With Russia and Ukraine and things of that nature, man. So it's rough. Like you stated with the trial, man. When she pleaded guilty, she pled guilty to that crime or that those charges. I'm like, what is the point of going to the trial? Because if she pled guilty, then it should be some type of plea bargain. But I'm hopeful that Biden and his administration can work out some type of deal to get her back over here. I know they have, their arms dealer that we had over here for 25 years now. He's a piece in the trading negotiation talks, along with another Marine who's been over there, I believe, like 6 years. I believe he's been over there. So hopefully they can strike some type of deal, Jay, and get her back. But with that Russian government, it's hard to predict, man. So all I can do is hope, man. So hopefully, she can get home soon for sure, man.
Yeah, man, it's kind of a crazy situation. Like, when you think about it, you're traveling, you're not
Yeah,
expecting anything like this to happen. And again, I mean, obviously she had a blind spot, an error, a mistake, whatever you want to call it, in having
right.
whatever it is that she had with her. But man, it just feels like 9 years, if that is, going to be
Severe,
the
man.
sentence. That just doesn't feel reasonable. Hopefully they can get something worked out, K-Walk, and get her out of there. But I don't know, man. And hopefully, usually when we do these shows, we talk about things we
Mhm.
want to be right. I hope I'm
Right,
wrong about this, but to me, it feels like
right,
I don't know
exactly.
if it's going to get resolved quickly. I feel like these things tend to drag out. I mean, we have other Americans that have been over there for years and
For sure.
years. So
Yes.
I don't know, man. I hope there can be a fast resolution to it, but I don't feel like there will be. So obviously, this is something we'll keep our eyes on and talk about from time to time. And as
Right.
as we both said, man, hopefully they can find a
For
resolution
sure,
as
man. For
quickly as
sure.
possible. All right, man. Let's get into some of this NFL stuff. Matt Rule,
Yes.
head coach, Carolina Panthers, came out just yesterday or the day before saying he's in no rush to pick a starting quarterback in Carolina. He's going to let Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold split reps, sort of play this thing out, watch a couple preseason games before he makes a decision. Two questions, K-Walk. Number one, do you like that approach, kind of seeing how these guys look before making a decision? And number two, who do you think will ultimately be the guy come opening day in the NFL?
Yeah, to answer the first question first, Jay. Yeah, I definitely think it's a good approach to have them split time and actually battle it out. I think it makes for a better camp, a better offense, a better team, because you're going to get two guys who have the opportunity or have a feel that they're going to be the starter. So if you put those two guys in, you're ultimately going to put them on, one versus one. I mean, ones and versus together. Put all the ones together. Excuse me. So I like it because some people may say it may split the locker room because you may have a Sam Darnold guy, you may have a Baker Mayfield guy. You can look at it that way, but I'm looking at the positive from the positive spin of it and say, listen, I just think it makes more of a competitive camp for sure. You're going to get the best out of both of them, and whoever wins that, that you're going to get the best out of the two. So I do like the approach. With that being said, I really think that Baker Mayfield is the guy that's ultimately going to win the QB1 spot. I just think that his experience and what he's been able to do in Cleveland, he's comfortable with who he is. I don't think he was a bad quarterback. I just think he just got caught up in the numbers game with the whole Deshaun Watson thing there. But I thought he was. If you kept the Baker Mayfield in that offense and Deshaun Watson is not there, I think the Cleveland Browns could have made some serious noise. With all of the moves that they made in the offseason, bringing in Jarvis Landry for sure. Not Jarvis Landry. Excuse me, Amari Cooper. Excuse me. For sure, and with that running game and that tight end as well, and that defense is really good too. So I really think that Baker Mayfield will win this QB battle. But again, going back to your first question, I do think it makes for a good camp.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I think that's the thing we love about sports, the competition, right? And that you're just not handing something to somebody, especially when you have two guys that are fairly similar. It's not like there's a clear number one there. So I do think the competition will bring out the best in both of them. But I agree with you. I think when it's all said and done, it feels like to me that it's going to be Baker's job. I just think that maybe he has a little bit more upside than Sam Darnold. I think he can maybe make a few more plays. So I do think this is going to be Baker's job. But I like how Matt Rule was handling it, just kind of giving both of these guys an opportunity to show what they can do. So we'll keep our eyes on what's happening in Carolina. Let's jump over to Cincinnati, K-Walk. Joe Burrow. He hasn't done much, man. Had an appendectomy a week or so ago. Not really able to participate right now. We know the Bengals caught lightning in a bottle last year, make a great Super Bowl run. Does this set them back at all, K-Walk? Are you worried? How do you think this Joe Burrow setback is going to affect the Bengals?
No, definitely not. I'm not worried, Jay. I don't think it's a major setback. I mean, obviously, you want to get him in and get him his reps, as much as you possibly can, along with the, with the number ones as well, and build some camaraderie with the new receivers that have come in. So it's definitely a setback in that, and from that aspect. But I don't think it's a total setback, and I don't think once he gets back in there, he'll probably be a little rusty like any quarterback would with time off, but I think he'll pick it up. He knows the offense, obviously, and he's going to, build off of what they did last year by going to the Super Bowl, being 3 points away from winning it all last year. So I don't think it's a major setback, Jay. Slight setback, because anytime you lose your core starting quarterback in camp, it's obviously going to put you back behind the ball, if you will. So yeah, I think that he'll be all right once he gets back. He's gets that he gets all clear, all signs go. Gets that green light. He'll be all right. He'll get back into the mix real quick.
Yeah, I agree, man. Minor setback at the most. You're talking about, as you stated, a guy that knows the offense, understands the offense, already has a good relationship with his receivers. Of
Right.
course, you'd rather have him out there just to work on timing and camaraderie and all those kinds of things, but I
Right.
don't think it's going to be a major hiccup for the Bengals. And hopefully he can get back out there soon, get a week or two under his
Exactly.
belt, work off a little bit of rust, and I think the Bengals will be ready to rock and roll. All right, K Walk, another week. Another week with no contract for Lamar Jackson. I mean, we've talked about this several weeks in a row. We both were trying to pinpoint it. What is the issue? Why can't they get
Right.
this
Yeah.
done? Let me approach it from a slightly different angle this week, K Walk. Do you think the fact that his mother is his agent is impacting these negotiations at all? What kind of impact, if any, do you think is having on these negotiations, the fact that his mom is acting as his agent?
Yeah, Jay, I don't want to put that as a part of the reason, man. I just don't want, I just refuse to do that. Whether it's it may be the number, if it has anything to do with it, Jay, it's maybe the years and maybe the number and maybe the guaranteed money as well, the signing bonus as well. That's the only thing that I can see it playing playing a part of. Um, they negotiated his rookie deal. He had a really good rookie deal for sure. So, they extended him. So they want him to be around. If anytime you extend him, I'll pick up that 5th year option, I should say. That means you want this guy to be around. I'm not going to put it on Miss Jackson, so I'm not going to put it on Miss Jackson. I don't want her come. I don't want her come looking for me. So definitely not Miss Jackson. She has nothing to do with this. Yeah, I just think it's probably, Jay, just a wait and see type deal, man. I just don't. I think we already seen. We talked about this for quite some time, and I just think that if you think this is the best that you're going to get Lamar Jackson, then pay him for what you think he's worth at this point. If you think he can excel, he can be better, then pay him off of that. I was listening to Greg Roman the other day, and they asked him about changing the offense, for Lamar so he can throw the ball more. So Greg Roman said that no, I don't think that's the situation. We'll put him. We'll definitely make call different plays, but we're not going to change the offense around him around for him because we think that he's okay where he's at right now. So with that being said, if that's the case, if they're not going to change the offense around, they're comfortable with him going forward. So give him that contract. So I don't see what the holdup is, Jack. I really can't pinpoint, the reason why it hasn't been done already.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out what is the holdup. We've seen other guys get their money. Kyler Murray just signs a huge deal.
Yeah.
Lamar is thinking, I need at least that much, probably
Right.
more.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Yeah.
Ravens, they need to get this thing figured out, man. I said last week that I wasn't so sure that it would even get done, that he might play the
Right.
season or at least start the season without a long-term deal. Every day that goes by, I'm starting to feel more and more like that. I agree with you. I don't think that the fact that his mom is working as his agent really should be impacting this at all. I mean, the numbers are
Right.
going to be the numbers. The years are
Right.
going to be the years. I just think the Ravens, for whatever reason, have been unwilling to kind of pony up the money that Lamar is asking for at this time. But I don't understand why. I mean,
Yeah. Right.
where else are they going to go? What else are they going to do? What
Seriously.
else do you need to see? Like, if you don't know who Lamar is by now,
Right.
then I don't know what to tell you. So that
Exactly.
one's a bit of a head scratcher, K Walk.
It really
Hopefully they
is.
can get it figured out at some point. All right, man, good stuff. Let's go ahead and grab a break, because when we come back, K Walk, I want to do another round of Somebody's Gotta Go. I think I got some
Uh-oh.
good ones for you this week,
Uh-oh.
and then we'll close out this first segment with K Walk, and I are going to give you a starting defense for everyone participating in this coming 2022-2023 NFL season. So that'll be some good stuff coming up. Let's grab a break. You're listening to the Walkthrough on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Walkthrough Radio Show. Kevin Walker and Jason Collins right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. Again, also check us out on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, the Walkthrough Radio Show. All right, K-Walk, I'm loving these Somebody Gotta Go. If you haven't heard it before, folks, I give Kevin 4 or 5, in some cases, people or things, whatever the case may be, and he's got to put one out of the group. I always try to make them tough for K-Walk. Some are easier than others. The first one, K-Walk, I'm doing Yankees, all Yankees,
Right.
man. And I kind
Okay.
of went
Okay.
back. I kind of went back to like Yankees history guys that
Okay.
like true Yankee fans should have a hard time with this, man. So I got Babe
Okay.
Ruth, I
All
got
right.
Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio, and Lou Gehrig. Babe Ruth,
Oh,
Mickey
brother.
Mantle, Joe DiMaggio, Lou Gehrig. Somebody's got to go, K-Wall. Who you kicking out of the group?
Oh man, Jay, this is a tough one, man. This might have been tougher than the one you gave me last week. Oh man, but all right, man. Babe is a shoe in. Mickey is a shoe in. Yeah, it sounds rough, but I'm gonna say Joe DiMaggio has to go, man. I mean, we're talking about Babe Ruth, who's arguably the greatest baseball player to ever play the game. Mickey Mantle is just an icon and here in New York and with the Yankees. Lou Gehrig, everyone knows about what he went through, his famous speech, when he
Yeah.
contracted the Lou Gehrig disease. So yeah, as tough as it is for me to say, Joe DiMaggio has got to go, man. It's got to go. Rough one,
Okay.
Jay.
Okay.
Rough one.
Look,
Rough
I
one.
don't I don't know enough about baseball, Yankee history to even touch this one. So I'm just gonna let you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, K Walk put Joe DiMaggio out. If you have an issue with that, see K Walk.
See me.
Because I'm not even gonna touch this one. I'm not gonna touch this one. Let's go to North Carolina basketball players. And
Ooh,
these are not
okay.
necessarily the greatest North Carolina players.
Right.
MJ is not on this list. These are just
Okay.
four guys that I said, okay, let's see who K Walk will eliminate. So I
Okay.
got Vince Carter, Jerry
Okay.
Stackhouse, Antoine Jameson, and
Ooh.
James Worthy. So Carter, Stackhouse, Jameson,
Hmm.
Worthy, North Carolina basketball players. Somebody's got to go. K Walk, who you kicking out of the group?
Oh man. All right. Vince Sanity is just Vince Sanity for a reason. He stays obviously, well, not obvious, but big game James stays. So this is between Stack and Jameson. These two were both monsters at the University of North Carolina. I'm gonna. Ooh. Well, look, Stack, man, Stack, from what I hear, his reputation, man, you don't really want to go at Stack, off the court. So, all right, I'm going to say Antoine Jameson has to go. That's a tough one, Jay. That really is a tough one. Antoine Jameson's got to go. I loved how smooth he was, how he was able to work that baseline underneath the basket. You know what, Jay? I'm changing my mind.
Oh,
I'm going. Jerry Stackhouse has to go. Jerry Stackhouse
oh,
has to go. I got too many guards on there. So I mean, I already got, yeah, I'm going Stackhouse has to go. I'm
okay.
sorry, brother.
Okay.
I'm sorry, brother.
All right. Look, I think I'm gonna go Jameson, and not that I am a deep in North Carolina basketball at all, but I agree with you. Carter and Worthy, you're not putting those two out. Look, the reason I'm keeping Stackhouse is personal. I think I told you before.
Yeah, that's why I
His
said
son was in my class many
yeah,
years
yeah.
ago, so I know his family. So Stackhouse is staying for me. Jameson's got to go for personal reasons. So, and not to mention that he could ball as well. Not, I mean,
Right, yeah,
obviously, all these guys
right,
are great players. I'm going to
yeah.
keep Stackhouse in
All
my
right,
group.
not bad at that.
All right, okay. Well, let's go to sports. Right, if you got to get rid of one of these sports, you could never watch it again. I got the
Ooh.
NFL. I got the NBA, Major League Baseball, college football.
Oh,
One of them's
Jay.
got to go. You could never watch again. Who's got to go, K Walk? NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, college football.
This is a tough one, Jay. All right, well, NFL and college football are shoe-ins. They're untouchable. Um, so that leaves the NBA and Major League. Man, I'm a huge. You know what? I'm only going to say the MLB has to go because I'm really dialed into one team. Really, I don't really watch baseball. I watch baseball. I don't watch other teams. I just watch the Yankees and whoever they're playing. I'm dialed into that. Occasionally, I watch highlights and things of that nature. But from watching it, I watch other games with NBA. So I'm going to say Major League Baseball has to go in this case because I watch a lot more basketball, even when my teams aren't playing, than I do Major League Baseball. So based off of that, I'm going to say Major League Baseball has to go. Tough
Yeah, I
choice, though.
thought this
Tough
would be
choice.
tough for you, K-Walk.
Yeah,
Yankees,
tough
I know
one.
you're locked in, but
Yeah,
I guess
man.
that makes
Yeah.
sense if that's really the only group that you're locked into. For me, this is an
Yeah.
easy one. I don't
Yeah.
watch much baseball at
Right.
all. So that's an easy choice for me to go. All right, K-Walk, last
Wow.
one. I just have all-time athletes from different
Okay.
sports. Somebody's got to go. MJ, who I know you're probably, I mean, there better be some real superstars on this
Yes.
list if you're going to put MJ out. But
Right.
I got
Moses,
MJ,
Jesus.
Tom Brady,
Okay.
Tiger Woods,
Oh,
Serena Williams.
you know what, Jay? You
MJ,
kind of,
Tom Brady,
yeah,
Tiger Woods, Serena Williams.
kind of stole my start bench cut for the day. One of my start bench cuts. So,
Oh,
no, it's cool though. It's cool. I like it. We're on the same page in that aspect. From that aspect. All right. Well, MJ and you said Tiger, right? Tiger,
MJ, Brady, Woods,
Ward,
Serena
and
Williams.
William Williams. All right. MJ, he's a shoe in. Wow, Jay, this is hard. Um,
It's
I'm going to
tough.
say Serena. Yeah, I'm keeping Serena too. I'm keeping Serena
Okay.
too.
So the
So it comes
female
down to Brady.
tennis
Yeah,
player
yeah,
GOAT is in. Okay.
yes,
So
yes.
Brady
Oh
and
man,
Tiger. Ooh, how you gonna get rid of one of those
like,
guys?
I don't know how to get rid of any of them, let alone them. Wow, man. All right. Tiger has done it. Oh my God, Jay. Wow, this is tough. All right, man. Because I'm a football guy, man, and I'm a football guy, so I got to go with Tiger Woods has to go in this one.
Oh,
This is a tough one. The only reason why I'm picking Tom Brady because I'm a football guy, and I only watch golf. It's kind of like my explanation with the last one. I only watch golf when Tiger is playing. So unless they could pique my interest a little bit more, that I'm going to. Well, you know what? With that being said. So that makes sense now. So now with that being said, let's flip flop that. Tom Brady's got to go. Tom Brady's got to talk myself out of it. So I'm going to say Tom Brady's got to go. Tiger Woods, you're in. So I'm going Tom Brady, you're out of here. You got to go.
yeah, that's tough, man. There's really no
That's tough.
wrong answer here. To me,
Right.
you're right. MJ's untouchable in the group. But because of what Tiger has done, like I don't know that I would have ever watched golf if it wasn't for Tiger.
Right.
So
That's
I
why I had
feel
to
like
change my
he's
mind.
got to be in. And look, what Brady has done has been phenomenal. What Serena has done, I mean,
Yes.
that to me is where I would get stuck between Tom Brady and Serena Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Brady, the GOAT quarterback,
Yeah.
Serena, greatest tennis player. So like, how do you
Yeah. That's
choose,
tough.
man? Um, I am reluctantly going to put Serena out, and I'm going to
Okay.
keep Brady because what he's done in
Okay.
the NFL has just been unprecedented. So I'm going to put Serena out. Very reluctantly, ladies and gentlemen. All right,
Yeah.
K-Walk, we got about 5 minutes, man. Let's do our starting
All right.
lineup. This coming NFL. Good stuff there too, K-Walk. I tried to make
Yeah.
those tough for you.
Yeah.
Let's
You
start with
did.
the let's start with the defensive line, K-Walk.
All right.
Who's going to be your starting defensive line for this upcoming NFL season?
All right, Jay, kind of like I did with our all-time defense. I'm gonna go with a 3-4 here. I'm gonna go with a 3-4 defense. So with that being said, I'm gonna put Aaron Donald in the middle,
Yep.
at nose or whatever you want to call it, depending on your defense. On the outsides, I'm gonna go with Myles Garrett and we'll go with my man Nick Bosa as well. So Myles Garrett and Nick Bosa on the line, and again Aaron Donald in the middle.
I smartened up, K-Walk. I went with a 3-4 as well. We got 2 out of the 3 the same. I got Aaron Donald
Okay.
in the middle. I got Myles Garrett on one side. I got TJ Watt on the other side. So I went with Watt, Donald, and Garrett for my front 3. Give me your linebackers, K-Walk.
All right, started with my outside linebackers, Jay. I actually put TJ Watt as an outside linebacker, as an
Okay.
outside
Okay.
rusher. So that's
That
where I put
works.
him at. Yeah. And then I also went with your guys, call him your guy now because you're a Cowboy fan. I went with Micah Parsons, man. I went with Micah Parsons. I love what Dan Quinn did with him and putting him on that outside and allowing him to attack the quarterback and go side to side if need be. So I went with Micah Parsons and TJ Watt on my outside. Inside, I went with Shaquille Leonard from the Indianapolis Colts. And I went with Fred Warner from the San Francisco 49ers, mine in the middle. So again, I got Watt, Leonard, Warner, and Michael Parsons as my linebackers.
A lot of overlap here as well. Obviously, I got Micah Parsons, my Penn State brother. He's definitely in my lineup. I have Warner as well, maybe the best linebacker in the game. I have him. I've got Leonard, also K-Walk. The other guy I threw in here is Demario Davis. I threw him in this group as well. So those are my four. Let's go to the secondary, K-Walk. Who do you got on the corners and as your safeties?
All right, on one corner, I got, I think arguably, or probably not arguably, in my opinion, is the best corner in the game. That's Jalen Ramsey from the Rams. There, outside, I got, with this defense, I think he'll fit well in there. I think he can, he likes to do. He likes to take chances and jump balls, and that's your guy Trayvon Diggs from the Cowboys. I just think that you get when you see this offense, we did this defensive line and these linebackers, they can get after the quarterback. That'll allow him to jump some quick routes. So that's why I went with Trayvon Diggs there. Safeties, I went with Derwin James from the Los Angeles Chargers. Great season. I didn't know if to put him at safety or put him, free or strong, but based off of who I got at free safety, I'm going to put him at strong safety. And I know he wasn't on any of all pro lists last year. I think he had an injury as well, but I think he's going to have a bounce back season this year at free safety. And that's Jamal Adams from the Seattle Seahawks. I think this guy is probably the most versatile guy in the game next to Simmons from the Cardinals. But I think you could put Jamal Adams pretty much anywhere on this list, but I put him at free safety to allow him to do just that, be free. So I went with Trayvon Diggs, Jalen Ramsey at my corners, Derwin James, and Jamal Adams at my safeties.
That's a nice group, K-Walk. That's a very nice group. We do have some overlap. I have Jalen Ramsey as well. I think obviously you got to have this guy in your secondary.
Yeah.
On the other side, I gave a little shout out to Brittany Jones and those Philadelphia Eagles. I went with Darius Slay. He's slightly, he might be a little off the radar for some people, but I think he's really going to splash this year. So I got Darius Slay of the Philadelphia Eagles on the other side. Like you, I have James as my strong safety. And then free safety, K-Walk, I went with Minkah Fitzpatrick from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, another guy that might be slightly off some people's radar, but this guy is a really, really good football player. I think he's going to have a fantastic year as well. So I got Ramsey, Slay, James, and Fitzpatrick as my secondary.
Not mad at that,
Jay. There's some good ones to choose from, man. There's a lot of good players. Obviously, looking forward to this NFL season. We got a little taste of some football last night, and now every week going forward, we'll get a little bit more. So it'll be here sooner rather than later, K-Walk. I can't wait. All right, that's all the time I have. Let's grab a break here. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, K-Walk's got some great topics to talk to you about, so stick around. You're listening to the walkthrough with Kevin Walker and Jason Collins right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Walkthrough Radio Show with myself, Kevin Walker, alongside Jason Collins, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. And ladies and gentlemen, you can also catch us on YouTube at the Walkthrough Radio Show. Again, check us out, subscribe, like, like Jay said earlier in the beginning of the show, we're trying to get this thing, this rolling and getting a lot of attention here, Jay. We are getting a lot of attention. I've been getting some texts. I forget to reach out to you in regards to this, but get a lot of traction. So we thank everyone who listens on a weekly basis and those who listen in, periodically. But let's jump right into it, Jay. And I want to talk about Deshaun Watson. We talked about Deshaun Watson a little bit, with the 6-game suspension. Now, the NFL, as a lot of people anticipated or expected, that they're going to appeal it. They're shooting for a 1-year suspension, Jay. Now, it seems to me, Jay, that it's kind of like, I don't understand why we went through the whole process with Judge Robinson. She gave him a 6-game suspension, and she said she based it off of what the NFL has done in the past as far as how they treated certain situations and what suspensions they laid down and so forth and so on. So a lot of people thought that the suspension was too light. Some people thought it was fair, and some people thought it was too harsh because he sat out last season. But right now, it looks like that Roger Goodell is going to get his wish. I don't know if it's his wish, but he's going to get what he wants, and that's the year suspension. What say you about them appealing this? And do you see it being a year, Jay?
I just think the whole thing is a mess, K-Walk. Like,
Yeah,
the
seriously.
NFL and these suspensions and penalties, it just feels like they never really get it right. Like, sometimes when you think something should be light, they go super harsh. When you think something should be harsh, they go light. It just seems like I don't know what they're really doing. I don't really understand their process when it comes to suspending people. As far as Deshaun Watson, look, they go through, whether you agree or disagree with what Watson did or whatever side of the fence you fall on, they went through the process. They landed on a 6-game suspension. Me personally, I thought it was going to be more. I thought 8 games minimum, most likely a full season. That's what I thought. So when I saw 6, I was kind of surprised. I thought, man, hey, he got off better than I thought he would. But at the end of the day, if you go through the process and that's where you end up, I don't necessarily get why now the NFL is going to say, no, this isn't what we wanted. Let's go back to the table. Let's relitigate this thing and let's figure out something that we think is more appropriate. So look, I'm sure it's all in their collective bargaining agreement and all that stuff about what they can and can't do, but it just seems kind of silly to me. So I don't know, man. I just feel like they fumble these things all the time when it comes to suspensions. I thought he needed more than 6 games. I thought he would get more than 6. But if they decided on 6, okay, let him take the 6 and let's move on. So I think they need to get this thing figured out, man. And I understand because of some of the backlash, because some people are unhappy, Goodell and the NFL probably feel like they need to do something from an image standpoint. But if you were going to do that, why even go through the whole circus of having this in the first place? So it's just another black eye for the NFL in terms of how they've handled these kind of things in the past.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jane. And I think that's where Roger Goodell's to come in and try to put some ice on that black eye, try to clear it up as soon as possible, because of the fact of the matter is, when you look at it, I as much as I was kind of like defending Deshaun Watson in some of our, our talks and debates on various shows that you and I do, I really thought that he was going to get more. When I really thought, I was like you, I thought he was going to get 8 to 10. If he got a year, I wouldn't have been surprised. But I was surprised when he got 6 games. I'm like, wow, that seems too light. And considering, and I'm not saying she should have been biased or whatever because she's a female, but I really thought that, because Judge, Sue Robinson was presiding in this case, I thought she would give him more, to be honest with you. When I saw the name who was presiding, I thought, it's going to get at least 8 to 10, at least. That's the bare minimum. If he gets a year again, I wouldn't have been surprised, but she gave us 6. Now Roger Goodell feels like, as you to use your term, a black eye on the league, and he wants to protect that shield as much as he possibly can, especially when he's working for these owners and making as much money as he's making, $40+ million a year. So he wants to get this. He wants to get it right. Like you said, there's a lot of backlash. We hear the representatives, the representative or attorney who represented the females, and we heard a couple of females talk in regards to what he was given as far as the suspension. So he's getting a lot of heat, meaning Roger Goodell. He's getting a lot of heat, and he's going to have to clean that up and as much as he possibly can. And a year suspension is probably looming large for Deshaun Watson, man. It looks like it is. and also a fine is probably coming too. So it's probably going to be opposite of what he did last year, other than the fact that last year he didn't play, but he got paid his full contract. This year, I don't see him playing, and he's not going to get paid anything.
Yeah.
345,000 at most is which is nothing compared to in the grand scheme of things in the NFL. But let's see how this plays out, Jay. I think he's going to get that 1 year, and that's going to leave the Browns right now with Jacoby Brissett as their starting quarterback. So with that being said, Jay, is it time for the Browns to give a call, reach out to John Lynch and those guys and say, listen, Jim, we need Jimmy. What are you asking price for Jimmy Garoppolo? It's probably going to go up now, Jay, because I had, Jimmy going there, at a fourth round, a conditional fourth or fifth round pick. But now if Deshaun Watson gets suspended for a year, that price may go up a little bit. That may go to a second or a third or maybe even a second, Jay. But what say you about the trade possibly happen with Jimmy G to the Browns?
Yeah, man, it's very interesting because like you just said, for me, it would all depend on what I had to give up, because really, this is only more than likely just going to be a 1 year thing. I think the Browns are like if Deshaun Watson does get suspended for a year, I think the Browns are definitely saying, okay, well, when he comes back, he's our guy. So if they go out and get Jimmy, you got to believe that that's just going to be for a 1 year type thing. So how much do I want to give up for a guy that might, or most likely is only going to be my starting quarterback for 1 year? So if they can get Jimmy at the right price, I definitely think it works. You get a competent winning quarterback in your organization for this year while Deshaun Watson's out. You can sort of save your season, so to speak. So I think it's a great move if you can get him for the right price. I don't want to give up too much for a guy that's basically going to be a bridge until Deshaun Watson is able to play. But I think he's the best thing available to kind of fill that gap. So I definitely think they need to take a look at it.
Yeah, and you got to look at it too, and looking at it from the 49ers standpoint, it's like, okay, you calling me, okay, you got a decent team there, you got a really decent team. Even Baker, we mentioned earlier, if Baker Mayfield was there, they could make some serious noise in the AFC North, and they can also make some serious noise in the playoffs. Because they do have a really good team around them. It's just all about their quarterback position. That's with any quarterback. I mean, any team, but for this particular team, they're just a quarterback away from, making some serious noise. I think Jimmy is a guy that can get it done for him. We've seen Jacoby Brissett's, his resume. We know he's a really good backup quarterback. I mean, he can get the job done. But as far as a full 17-game season, I can't see Jacoby keeping these guys, in that hunt, if you will. I do see Jimmy G doing that. I just don't see Jacoby doing that. Nothing to knock against Jacoby, because Jacoby to me is a backup at best, and usually a backup will give you like 4 or 5 games depending on the situation, of course. So I think they call him Jay. I don't know what to give him. I mean, like you stated, you don't want to give up because Jimmy G only has 1 year left on his deal, and plus, even if he didn't, Deshaun's coming back next year and he's still going to be their quarterback, their starting quarterback. So that's a great point that you made as far as what do you give up for 1 year? Unless you really believe in this team and you really believe that Jimmy G can take you not so much to the promised land, but close enough to it to be in serious contention, then you pull the trigger on possibly a third round, second round pick for sure. But it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because right now it's kind of getting awkward in Santa Clara. They're working out. Trey's their guy. Jimmy is off to the side. He's throwing, he's running, doing his things. He's not practicing with the team. So it fits. It seems to me that the 49ers is best in their interest to get rid of him, not get rid of him. I don't know, bad choice of words, but to move on from him at this time, because I think the longer that he's there, the more awkward that it's going to get. So I think it's time for them to either make some calls, or hopefully someone fields calls, or hopefully there's someone calls so they can field them. So good stuff there, Jay. Hey, Jay, man, I want to stay with obviously the NFL talk, and I want to talk about your guys, your Cowboys, man. Now, you always stated, man, and with the Miami Heat, I'm gonna go use the Miami Heat example for this. And I kept saying Miami Heat can win the championship, the NBA championship. And you was like, I don't know, K Walk, because they just don't have that superstar guy, that superstar
Yeah.
name, that big time name. Is Jimmy Butler a superstar caliber guy? That's what you kept asking. So, and then you went on to the numbers, the history of it. There were some exceptions, 2000, forget 2000, was a 2000 Pistons or what have you. You use that as, okay, that's one, but
Right.
so I'm saying all this to say this, Jay, your Cowboys offense right now, your Cowboys offense, okay, you got CeeDee Lamb, who's a young up and coming star, definitely a quality receiver, a big time receiver, but outside of him or opposite of him, you got Michael Gallup, who's questionable for week one. We don't know what we're going to get with week one. And he's a young receiver as well. Then you got James Washington, who came over from the Steelers. He's out 6 to 10 weeks with that fractured foot. After that, Jay, even if those guys were healthy, Jay, they're not big time name guys. They're not big time name guys. But so how concerned are you with this offense, and what can they possibly do to get this offense going and to have you comfortable saying, okay, this offense, can make some serious noise?
I'm not even going to lie to you, K Walk. when you told me we were going to talk Cowboys offense, I said, all right, let me dig in here. Let me see what I'm working with. And I was thinking to myself, is it too late for me to jump off this bandwagon? Like, is it too late for me to change my mind? Woo, K Walk, man. I'm concerned. I am concerned because I think in today's NFL, you've got to have a couple dynamic playmakers on the outside, or at least pass catchers, whether they play slot, outside, whatever. I think you need a couple of those type of guys to really be effective. We can, if we want to say CeeDee Lamb is one of those guys, those other two guys, K-Walk, like you said, they're not big time, big game changing type of receivers. So that concerns me. I think at the running back position, you probably feel pretty good with Zeke and Pollard. Although I saw a clip of Zeke the other day, K-Walk, and he didn't look as in shape as I thought he was going to look. He looked a little bit, he just didn't look as fit as I was hoping. But I think both of those guys together, I think you feel pretty good about the running back situation. Their tight end is Dalton Schultz. I don't even know who that is, K-Walk. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. The offensive line, they still have Zach Martin and Tyron Smith, but those other three guys are going to be kind of new names trying to rebuild. So, Dak, obviously I like Dak, but again, when you start listing your top five quarterbacks, he's not going to be in your top five. So I am concerned about the Cowboys offense. I'm not going to lie. In today's NFL, you have to be able to score points. And looking at this offense right now, it doesn't strike me as an offense that's going to blow you away. So they better be darn good on defense. That's all I can say. They better be really, really good on defense. Or it might be a long year for me with all this trash I've been talking about the Cowboys. So I'm concerned, K-Walk. I'm not going to jump, but I'm concerned.
All right, Jay. So with that being said, who has the most pressure on them right now? Dak Prescott, Mike McCarthy, or Jason Collins? Who has the most pressure on them as the Cowboys season this year?
Well, look, I can always get out of it. So I'm not going to say it's me. But I think Dak is pretty secure. I think it's got to be Mike McCarthy, because let's just say the wheels fall off of this thing and it just goes wrong. Dak's going to be their quarterback. Everybody's going to look to McCarthy and say, this guy's got to go. I mean, there's already been a lot of questions and rumors about him, especially the way they lost last year with a bunch of undisciplined football plays. So I think he would be the first domino to fall if things go south. So I'm going to say the most pressure is on McCarthy. But man, K-Walk, I'm just hoping that maybe they have some young guys somewhere. Maybe somebody will surprise you. Maybe somebody will step up, and that might fill in some of the gaps. But when I took a hard look at this, I was worried, K-Walk. I really was.
All right. With that being said, Jay, we got OBJ out there who's coming off of that ACL injury. There's no timetable right now as far as when he's going to return. But let's say you throw, you get OBJ in that mix. Does that boost your confidence a little bit there if you get an OBJ there? And how much can that change the offense? And also, um, now actually answer that question first, and I'll come with another question. But go ahead.
It does. I think it would help. I mean, and I don't know what he would be. What, he tore his ACL in February. So, like, let's even say October, November. I mean, is he really going to be 100% healthy? But I think sometimes just having a guy like that on the field where, okay, people have to pay attention to him could open some things up for some other people. So I think if you could get a guy like that, it certainly doesn't hurt your team in any way. And it's something that, for me as a Cowboys fan, I would like to, if we can, any good offensive player we can add, I think that's a plus.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. And you got to wonder what type of OBJ he's going to be when he does come back. And you don't want to rush. I know ACL injuries aren't what they used to be. You have to be out like in a full year. But today's medicine and treatments and things of that nature, you see these guys coming back a lot sooner than they did in the past.
Right.
So let's say there's no OBJ there. Let's say he decides to go back to Los Angeles, and you have all of the names that we mentioned. Now, I don't know if they have a Super Bowl caliber team, Jay, but do they have a good enough team, a good enough offense to at least win the NFC East?
I think they can win the NFC East, only because I don't think the division's going to be that great. I don't think Washington and New York are going to be very good. So it's really just going to be a two-team race. And I think a lot of the things that we said about the Cowboys, a lot of the questions, I think we could probably ask a lot of those same questions about the Eagles as well.
Right.
So I think the Eagles probably have a better offense if we start comparing positions and stuff like that. But I don't know that anybody's really expecting the Eagles to set the world on fire. So I still think they have a good chance to win the NFC East, not necessarily because the Cowboys are going to be great, but because I just don't think the division as a whole is going to be that good.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there, Jay. I think it's a two-team race, to be honest with you. Right now, the way everything is presently constructed, I just don't see, you got Carson Wentz in Washington, and we all know his story. We all know his resume, and that's not attractive at all. And then you got, then you look at Washington, and you go come up north, come up the turnpike. You got Daniel Jones, and you just don't know what you're going to get with Saquon. You don't, they traded a couple of their pieces away. So we're going to see how that plays. I'm not confident in either one of those teams. So I think it all comes down to Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts is going to be the difference maker. And then who wins the NFC East between the Cowboys and the Eagles. If Jalen Hurts can elevate his game, and I think they can win that East without question. I mean, he has a talent around him, like you mentioned. If we compared, offense position to position, Cowboys versus Eagles, you got to give the nod to the Eagles, with the exception of the quarterback spot. I think anybody in their right mind will give the nod to Dak in that comparison for sure. But it's going to be an interesting race. It's going to be a very good season. You're a Cowboy fan now, so it's going to be very. We don't play you guys. We don't play. 49ers don't play the Cowboys this year unless we meet again in the playoffs. But usually we play in the regular season. But it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun. Yeah, for sure. Let's take a quick break here, Jay. Just a real quick break. When we come back, I want to dive into our worst, better, or same segment. If they're going to have a better season, worst season, or the same season as last. Also, start bench cut, if we can squeeze that in there. We'll do just that. So let's just grab our quick break and we'll come back and do that. Again, ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned into the Walkthrough Radio Show with myself, Kevin Walker, alongside Jason Collins, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Walkthrough Radio Show with myself, Kevin Walker, alongside Jason Collins, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. Before the break, we were talking Cowboys offense, talking some Deshaun Watson as well. I want to switch gears and go to our again. I like to call it our better, worse, or same segment. Jay, I got 4 for you here. These are running backs. Last week we did quarterbacks. This is the running back edition of better, worse, or same. First guy I'm going to go with is Christian McCaffrey, running back from the Carolina Panthers. Injury plague season last year. Seems like it, it might be an injury plague season, but if he can stay healthy, Jay, what type of season do you have? I guess it can't be any worse, but better, worse, or same?
Yeah, man, I think the only answer here has to be
Yeah,
better,
yeah,
right? Because like you
right, yeah.
said, it
Gotta
can't
think
get
about
much worse.
it.
But the point is a great one. The injuries, man. Like, can he stay healthy? That's always the big question with him. You got to believe maybe his luck will turn around this year. So I'm gonna say better, just because I don't see him having another season like he had last year, just out with injury.
Yeah, we hope not. We hope not, because I mean, he's a heck of a talent, Jay. I
Yeah,
mean, such a
no
great
doubt.
back out of the backfield, one of the best receivers. He's better than some receivers out there in the league for sure. But yeah, I'm going to obviously the only way to go is better. So your next guy is your guy, Saquon Barkley. I say your guy is from Penn State. You kind of predicted his career, Jay. But what type of season do you have in here? Better, worse, or same?
Man, again, another guy who didn't do a whole lot last year, right? I
Right.
mean, even when he was playing, I think obviously that offensive line isn't great. Didn't really do a ton, had a few splash plays here and there, but then gets injured on kind of a fluke play with his ankle.
Yeah.
Man, I think he's going to struggle with injuries again, but I'm going to say slightly better because again, just
Okay.
not much production last year. I'll give Saquon a slightly better.
Okay. I'm going to go with you as well, Jess. Again, if he can stay healthy, I'm going to go better. I mean, I just think that he's too talented. He's kind of like Christian McCaffrey. He's just too talented, man. Fast, big, strong, man. I know you're not a fan of how big and muscular he is because of the fact of the matter. Sometimes that can cause a lot of injuries, man. Maybe that's why I don't work out. If you don't have anything to pull, Jay, then you should be all
That's right.
right. But next guy, I call it your guy again, is Ezekiel Elliott. I know he's kind of sharing time with Pollard. He did that last year, but better, worse, or same for Zeke.
Man, I hope my fellow cowboy brethren don't
Uh-oh,
come after
uh-oh.
me for this. I'm gonna say worse, K Walk. And
Ooh,
not necessarily all because of Zeke, but I feel like the Cowboys are gonna start to make a shift to Pollard. Like to where before it was
okay.
kind of Zeke and then Pollard would spell him. I think it might be more 50-50 this year and then even maybe start leaning towards Pollard a little bit more. So I think
Wow.
Zeke will be all right, but I don't think he's going to get the kind of attempts, the kind of opportunities that maybe
Okay.
he's had in the past. So I'm going to say slightly worse for Zeke.
And Jay, I'm gonna have to agree with you on this one too, man. I really think that Pollard is going to ultimately take over that position from the majority standpoint. I'm not going to say he's just going to just completely take Ezekiel out of the picture, but it's like you stated, going to start off 50-50. Zeke is going to play. I don't think especially with that offensive line. I think the way that Ezekiel Elliott plays, he needs a really good offensive line, to be honest with you. Whereas Pollard, he's a little bit more shifty. He can
Yeah.
make a guy miss here and there. That's why they have him in special teams as well, returning kicks. So I'm going to say worse for Ezekiel Elliott, man. Not wishing it on you, brother, but just based off of when we look at that, man, doesn't look good. All right, last guy here, Jay, is my guy in San Francisco. He was a rookie last year, took over the the running back duties there. Had a really good season. That's Elijah Mitchell. What type of
Yep.
season do you have him? He's coming into camp as number one as well. Better, worse, or same?
I'm going to say better, man. I'm going to say better. I think obviously coming back in your second year, you're just more
Mhm.
familiar with everything. I think the way that they run their offense, the play calling, just the combination of everything they do from an offensive standpoint, he's going to have a lot of opportunities and he's going to be set up very well to
Yeah.
succeed. And that's a big key. So I'm going to say slightly better.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you again, Jay. And this might sound biased, ladies and gentlemen, but I have to agree with it. The young kid, last year when Raheem Mostert went down, he took over. He immediately jumped into that number one spot, man. And I saw the type of the back that he was and the way he hits the hole real hard. I hear from a
Yep.
lot of defensive players that he's really hard to tackle. He's a lot harder to tackle than it looks like on film. So I think he's going to be slightly better. I think you're going to have, Trey Lance. He's going to rely on Trey Lance a little bit, to kind of open things up because, with those run pass options, those bootlegs, it's going to take a lot of pressure off of him, and with that offensive line and the way they're able to zone block. So I'm going to say slightly better as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're up against the clock, so we'll try to make this as not quick as possible. But this right here, Jay, this is a Tom Brady. I'm doing this for Tom Brady's 23rd season. So this is an all-Tom Brady start bench cut. All right.
Okay.
So first one we got, this is from a leadership standpoint only. Leadership standpoint. We got Derek Jeter,
Okay.
Tom Brady, and MJ. Michael Jordan, start bench cut.
Man. I'm not cutting MJ, even though some people don't love his leadership style. It was effective. He won, so he's staying. Man, I'm gonna cut Derek Jeter, K-Walk, at the captain.
Okay.
Only because I'm just not as familiar. I haven't watched the captain yet. I'm wanting to watch that ESPN series just to kind of learn a little bit more about it, but I'm not cutting Jordan. I'm more familiar with Brady. I'm going to cut Jeter.
Okay.
So
all right. That makes perfect sense.
Bench Brady, cut Jeter.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes perfect sense. And if you, ladies and gentlemen, you haven't checked out the captain, watch it. I haven't watched the last 2 episodes, but I see a different Jeter. I didn't realize Jeter was the way he is in life and the way he looked at the game and looked at certain teams. Got to check it out for sure if you haven't done so already. Next one, staying with the Tom Brady theme, of course. This is the NFL GOAT, greatest of all time. We got, obviously, Tom Brady. We got Jerry Rice. And we got Lawrence Taylor. Start bench cut. Who's the GOAT?
Oh, man, this is impossible. This is impossible, K-Walk, because I'm a huge Lawrence Taylor fan. I'm not cutting him. I'm not. So I'm going to start Jerry Rice, because you could argue that not only is he the greatest receiver of all time, a lot of people will say he's the best football player of all time, period. But Lawrence Taylor, I'm benching him because he's LT and he's the best to ever do it on the defensive side of the ball for me. I got to cut Tom Brady, and I know that's disrespectful, but I got to cut him, man. Up against those 2 guys, he's got to go.
Yeah, I agree with you, brother. I agree with you there on that one. I'm doing the same thing. I'm starting LT. Oh, no, I'm starting Jerry Rice. I'm benching LT, and I'm cutting Tom Brady. I thought I would hope I would get you to cut Tom Brady at some point today. But all right, last one here, Jay. Last one before we end the show is this is the most dominant in their respective sports. So obviously Tom Brady.
Dominant. Okay.
Yeah. We got Serena Williams. We got Tiger Woods. Start bench.
Man, look, Serena's got 23 or 24 majors. I'm not sure. Clearly, I mean, just dominated the women's side of tennis from the time she started winning, and just completely dominated. So if we're talking about domination, I'm not cutting Serena. And and Tiger created something called the Tiger Slam. I mean, this guy, he changed golf. So I'm starting Tiger. I'm benching Serena, and I got to cut TB. Look, I know he's got those Super Bowls, but the thing about it, for the people that are going to think I'm crazy, golf and tennis are individual sports. So you have to dominate from an individual standpoint. Brady's great at quarterback, but he didn't win those Super Bowls alone. He had a lot of help, especially early, a lot of defensive help. So I got to cut Brady. I'm sorry. I got to cut him, K-Walk.
Yeah, I'm not mad at you. I did the same thing. However, I flip-flop Serena and Tiger. I went with Serena. You said Tiger, right? When you started Tiger,
yeah,
correct?
I started Tiger.
Yeah, I'm gonna start Serena. I'm gonna cut bench Tiger, and I'm gonna cut Tom Brady again. Wow, Tom Brady gets cut twice in this segment. Wow, what's in his own segment? Oh wow, that's great stuff, Jay. That's great stuff. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time that we have. Like I do every week, I always want to leave you guys with something. This week I'll leave you with this. Sometimes we're tested not to show our weaknesses, but to discover our strengths. For Jason Collins, I am Kevin Walker, for the Walkthrough Radio Show right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. God willing, we'll talk to you next week.